You're sitting in a classroom you've sat in 100 times before. The clock ticks. Somebody's pencil scratches. The teacher's voice turns into background noise, the kind you stop hearing after enough years. You're staring at a test you already know you're going to fail. Your hand feels heavy. Your eyes feel heavier. And then, somewhere between one blink and the next, the room isn't there anymore. You're standing in a field of tall blue grass under 2 moons. There's a floating panel in front of your face, glowing faint gold, and it says one word: welcome. You'd think the first problem is figuring out where you are. It isn't. The real problem is far stranger than that. The real problem is that you're level 1, and everything else in this world is not. A message appears above your head, visible to no one but you. It reads, class, undetermined. HP, 12. It's the kind of number that sounds fine until you notice the wolf circling the tree line has a number of its own, floating red and enormous, and yours looks like a typo next to it. You run. Of course you run. Anyone would. You trip over a root, you scrape your palm, and a tiny box flickers in the corner of your vision. Skill gained. Stumble recovery, level 1. It's almost funny. You just face planted in the mud, and the universe congratulated you for it. Here's the part nobody tells you about waking up in a world like this. It isn't the monsters that break people first. It's the numbers. Every choice you make gets scored. Every step gets tracked. You didn't ask for a scoreboard, but now you have one, and it never looks away. There's a psychologist named Albert Bandura who spent decades studying something he called self-efficacy, which is really just a fancy term for how much you believe you're capable of handling what's in front of you. Bandura found that belief isn't built by being told you're capable. It's built by watching yourself succeed at small things, over and over, until the evidence piles up higher than the doubt. You don't know that yet. Right now, you just know your HP bar is small and the wolf is not. So you do the only thing a level 1 character with no weapon and no plan can do. You hide. You spend the first night wedged inside a hollow log, shaking, listening to something enormous walk past just outside. You don't sleep. You don't level up. You just survive until the sun comes up. And it turns out that's enough. Because surviving the night is its own kind of experience point. By morning, you've decided on a goal. Not to become a hero. Not to save the kingdom. You just want to go home. There's a shimmering gate on the horizon, half buried in fog, guarded by something with too many eyes. A voice in your head, calm and mechanical, tells you the gate only opens for players above level 20. You are, as previously established, level 1. Here's where most people expect a montage. Training arc, dramatic music, a wise old mentor showing up with a magic sword. That's not what happens. What happens is quieter and a lot more embarrassing. You watch other players first. From a distance, hidden behind rocks, you study how they swing, how they dodge, how they time their attacks. You don't join them, you just watch. That instinct, it turns out, is one of the most efficient ways a person actually learns. Bandura called it observational learning. And it's why you can pick up a new skill faster by watching someone competent fail and adjust than by blindly failing on your own from scratch. Your brain builds a model before your body ever tries the movement. So you try the movement, badly. Your first swing at a low-level slime misses so completely that you spin a full circle and fall down. The slime does not attack you. The slime, if slimes could feel anything, would probably feel sorry for you. Your second attempt goes better, if only because you fall in the opposite direction and accidentally headbutt it. Skill gained. Blunt force, level 1. You start laughing, alone, in a purple-tinted forest. Because apparently the universe rewards a concussion as much as it rewards a plan. Days pass. You keep failing, but you keep failing slightly better each time. A researcher named Anders Ericsson spent his career studying how people go from mediocre to excellent, and what he found again and again wasn't talent. It was structured repetition. Small, focused attempts, with feedback, repeated enough times that the failures start teaching you something instead of just hurting. That's what's happening to you. Even though it doesn't feel like progress, it feels like getting hit. A lot. Which angle the slime dodges toward. How long it takes to reform after a solid hit. Whether it flinches before it lunges or after. None of this feels like strategy while you're doing it. It just feels like paying attention because you're too tired to do anything else. Somewhere around your 40th slime, you land a clean hit without falling over. The panel flashes. Level 2. It's not much, but it's not nothing. The next few days blur together. You wake up sore. You practice the same swing until your arm shakes and refuses to lift the blade one more time. You eat something that might be a root vegetable and might be a rock, and somehow that stops mattering. There's no trainer handing you a schedule. There's no scoreboard cheering you on between attempts. There's just you, deciding over and over to try the thing again instead of walking away from it. That decision, repeated enough times, turns out to be the entire secret. Not the sword, not the system, just showing up for one more attempt when the last one didn't work. You meet someone on the 8th day, a girl with a cracked shield and a permanent scowl who watches you get thrown by a rabbit-shaped monster with unsettling ease and says, without much sympathy, that you're doing everything wrong. She's not wrong, but she also doesn't leave. You travel together after that, not because either of you plan to, but because two people watching each other's backs survive longer than one person watching nothing. She teaches you how to hold a blade without breaking your wrist. She teaches you to breathe before a swing instead of during it, and to stop closing your eyes right at the moment it matters most to keep them open. You, in return, contribute mostly chaos. You teach her, completely by accident, that falling down in the middle of a fight can sometimes confuse an enemy long enough to land a counterattack. It happens the first time because your legs simply give out from exhaustion. It happens the second time because you trip over the same route you've been tripping over for a week. By the third time, you start doing it on purpose, and it works often enough that she stops calling it clumsy and starts calling it a technique. You call it tripping. The result is the same either way. You misread a trail marker and walk the two of you in a circle for half a day. You try to cook something over a fire that's really just smoke with ambition, and you both go to sleep hungry. You panic during a fight with a pack of horned rabbits and swing at empty air 3 times before landing anything. None of it feels heroic while it's happening. All of it, somehow, adds up anyway. There's a moment, weeks in, sitting by a fire neither of you is very good at building, where she asks why you're trying so hard to leave a world most people would kill to enter. You don't really have an answer. You just know home is where the people who know your real name are. She goes quiet after that. You don't push it. Some silences are their own kind of answer. Here's the twist nobody warns you about. The thing that finally makes you strong isn't the big dramatic battle everyone expects. It's the boring stretch in between. While you were trying not to die, you were also, without noticing, building something. A pattern. A way of reading a fight before it happens. A stubbornness that refuses to stay down. A researcher named Carol Dweck spent years studying why some people improve dramatically after failure, while others just stop trying. The difference wasn't ability, it was belief about ability. The people who treated a failed attempt as information, not as a verdict, kept improving long after everyone else had quit. You didn't read her research, you just lived it, one faceplant at a time. By the time you reach level 19, the wolf that once looked enormous now looks small. The forest that once felt endless now feels familiar. You know its paths the way you used to know the walk from your bedroom to the kitchen. And then, the world decides to test you properly. The thing guarding the gate isn't a wolf. It isn't a slime. It's something with a crown of broken horns and a number above its head that makes your old level 1 self want to run and hide in a log again. But you're not that person anymore. You don't fight it alone. She's beside you, shield raised, scowl fully intact. You fight with everything the last few months taught you. The timing, the falling, the stubborn refusal to treat a hit as the end of the story instead of the middle of one. You don't win cleanly. You win messily, covered in mud, half your HP gone, laughing in a way that has nothing to do with humor and everything to do with disbelief. The panel flashes one last time. Level 20. The gate opens. And here's the part that actually matters. Standing in front of it, you realize you're not entirely sure you want to walk through anymore. Home is still home. But somewhere in the mud and the failed swings and the fires that wouldn't light, You became someone who could survive things level 1 you never could have imagined surviving. You look at her, she looks at the gate. Neither of you says the obvious thing, which is that walking through it means walking away from whatever this became. You step forward anyway, because home is still home, and some choices you make even when they're hard. The light swallows you. The field, the fire, the girl with the cracked shield, all of it fades into gold. You wake up in the same classroom, same clock, same test, same pencil scratching 2 seats over, except now staring at the same problem you were failing an hour ago or a lifetime ago, depending on how you count it. It doesn't look impossible anymore. It just looks like a level 1 problem, and you already know how those turn out. If you're willing to keep swinging, you start writing the answer, calm, certain, almost bored by how easy it feels now. Then a voice cuts through the quiet classroom. You're doing it wrong. Your pencil stops. You look up, and she's standing right beside your desk. And then another tale started. The end.